Hey, what's going on YouTube? I am back with a trip report this time. I'd been meaning to make this trip report for a bit, been lazy on it. If you do enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, ring that bell. But in any case, this was my 1 gram dab of THCO, and if you are interested in watching me having done that, I do have a video on it showing, I guess, just visually what what I did, just like crashing on the floor and whatnot, but doesn't exactly give a description of my internal, what I was directly feeling in the moment. And it was quite an uncomfortable situation. So first off, I do not recommend doing a 1 gram dab of THCO. It is not a pleasant experience like, say, taking a normal 1 gram dab of some regular ass shatter or weed. That shit is fun. This was not. This was kind of akin to like an uncomfortable edible high. It was an interesting mix. Like, so I took that fat dab and I just kind of kept going and going, of course, because it's 1 gram, so there's just so much of it. I mean, I did a whole, like, it was just a syringe that just went. Well, so when I took that dab and I finished, I mean, it made me cough a ton, and that was uncomfortable. But then it also gave me just some of the most THC sweats I think I've had in a long while. That was just some serious, like, oh boy, hey, it's just sweat and just drenching sweat out of my forehead, specifically my forehead, not anywhere else, just like my head and whatnot. And I just kind of felt just like this gross, slight nausea, wooziness. And it turned into just like kind of the onset of an edible high, you know, that initial feeling. It's kind of a nice feeling, but it was just like you tack that on with some nausea and it's just like, not my cup of tea really. But it still was muscling through it, playing that postal game, whatnot, struggling to focus on anything. It was just like, it was just getting worse and worse, and I was like trying to muscle through playing it, but it was just hard to focus on much anything. I just like, it's just kind of that just my train of thought, I just couldn't keep focused no matter what I did on it. It wasn't like I was just like, I don't know, like a lot of people talk about the psychedelic aspect of it. It wasn't really psychedelic in that sense. It was just struggled to focus. I guess an even further edible thing where like gravity, that whole gravity thing where everything feels real heavy, you're just being pulled to the ground. And when I was playing the game, like there was a distinct point in it where I got like, I just like spun one too many times, too fast, and in just a wrong direction, and it just gave me the spins, kind of like, you know, when you drink booze too fast and you get the spin, you're just like, ugh. It was very similar to like that, getting the spins from booze, where it just kind of hit me, and it just was like too much. So I just hit the ground, like laying down. I was feeling it already, but once my center of gravity, once everything was pushed towards the ground, that's where it was like, okay, you're kind of glued now. you're like, literally the whole time I was laying on the ground, I was like, I can't move. It felt like I just had this weight just like pressing on me that whole time, where I'm like, need to stop stream so I can focus on myself. And like I just laid there, just tried to relax, just tried to let it, you know, go through. And like eventually I got the gusto. And that's the thing, like part of the time, like there's times where I physically could not do it. This was almost like a mental thing where like, yeah, there was the weight feeling, yeah, there was whatnot, but mentally you could kind of do the Kill Bill thing where you're like, move your arm, and then you just kind of like eventually, you know, you'd get through it and do it. That was definitely this experience where it was like I felt like I couldn't move, but after a while of getting like comfortable with the gravity feeling, eventually I was able to just kind of like shoot up for the moment, end the stream, and then I proceeded to lay down, and I just like dealt with the whole thing, and it's basically just rocking a real heavy, uncomfortable edible high basically for about an hour, and then it just almost like instantaneously just stopped. and I was back to normal. Like, it was weird. Like, the whole experience maybe lasted an hour and a half, 2 hours. But like, when it was done, it was very sudden. And it was weird because that whole time I was thinking like, I'm gonna pass out. This is gonna be like a long ass experience, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it was just like because of how similar it was to like an edible type of experience that I just thought that that's kind of how it was gonna be. But no, this was like maybe 2 hours, and then it just was like a light switch. And I'm fine. I'm not high anymore. I'm like a little zoned out. THCO can kind of do that. Like if you're just like chiefing on it throughout the day, like by the end of the day, you're gonna be just a little brain mushed. You're not going to be quite as sharp as you were in the morning before you did it. So there was definitely some of that residual a little bit, but like 90% of everything was just done. Like no heaviness, no nausea. I was back to like no sweating, no uncomfortable like hot feeling, nothing like that. It was weird. I was so confused. Because I pretty much just got up, then had dinner and just relaxed. I was fine. I don't think I've ever had quite any type of drug experience like that, where it just like a light switch, like so rapidly, just all of a sudden, just like all the effects just went away. And I was happy for it because I did not like it at all. That was not fun. That was gross. It was very gross. And yeah, don't do a 1 gram THCO dab. That it was meant to be a weapon. It was designed to be a weapon by the US government. Like that was the intention of it. So like, it's more, my trip of it is more of like a forewarning and just an experience of like, this is why you shouldn't take this mass dose of THCO. If anything, you want to take very small amounts of it, if anything, which I find is the best experience with it. It's an additive, a small additive to other cannabinoids that it can work with. That's where the real benefit of THCO comes in. THCO by itself is kind of gross, like just not nearly as good as when it's like a little, maybe like a 10% THCO to like delta 8 or HHC type of thing, just like a tiny little bit, 5-10%, just a little additive. It definitely changes things a little bit, and that can be nice. But other than that, I would not recommend THCO in that fashion at all. So if you do enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, ring that bell. But in any case, you have a great rest of your day.